All right. Well, I'd like to welcome us to a special session of the West Fargo Library Board. It is, I almost said September, July 26th, 2023. It is 5:05 p.m. We'll take a quick attendance. Mandy,
Here.
Tony,
Here.
Larry,
Here.
Alana.
Here, I want to add, in case people listen in, that I'm at a scouting event, and so there are BB guns being shot, but it is a okay event.
Okay, thank you.
Stay low.
All right, and we have special guest Dustin Scott from the city with us as well. And the purpose of the meeting is to review next steps for a new director. So Dustin, do you want to go through some items?
Yeah, certainly can do so. Well, thank you, board members and other viewers that are online for having me on. It's been a learning process for me. This is the first time I've been involved with hiring somebody from the library, and unfortunately, you've had your share of this over the past few years, where we've had this will be now, I think, the third library director in as many years that we've had to hire. So hopefully, this is the third time's a charm. So getting into the process, you know, as you all know, Century Code requires that the library board is responsible for hiring and firing the library director position. So as such, this special meeting is really here for now the board to consider the candidates and potentially authorize an offer to be made. But before we get to that point, I'll recap a little bit of what we've been up to the past month. After the position was closed, we did receive several applicants. Some of the city staff worked with board president Hanson to go through, review those job applications. Then we looked at the qualified candidates that we would extend an offer to interview, which we did have. I believe we contacted 4 qualified candidates to schedule interviews. Of those 4, 3 of them accepted. And so then on July 12th, we conducted interviews with all 3 of those candidates. The interview panel included both the library board president and vice president, myself, one of our HR staff, and then a staff from the library, the children's services librarian. And so we conducted those interviews. We followed our typical scoring process for those interviews, and the panel identified a Miss Jenna Colley as, and it might be Kaylee, I might be pronouncing that wrong, Jenna Kaylee as the highest ranking candidate, and so we, as a panel, would be forwarding on our recommendation to extend an offer to Miss Kaylee. The board, if it chooses to, can either authorize myself as the assistant city administrator to extend the offer on the board's behalf, along with the conditions of that offer. Then can also authorize the board president and myself to enter into any negotiating that would take place if it did. So where we're at today then is to consider the candidate that the interview panel scored the highest, and decide whether or not you would like to authorize myself to send a letter on your behalf, extending an offer for the position. So with that, I feel like I've been talking for a while. I'll pause and see what questions you have that I can answer.
I just have a quick comment. So I don't know Jenna very well, but I did serve on another board with her. So I was excited to see her name. And she's just very professional, very personable. And I thought she was an excellent choice based on what I've known about her from serving on that other board. So I think she's a great, great person. So
I have a question. I didn't, now that I realize I didn't see the ad, and I was wondering what the minimum qualifications were for her for the position. Because, for example, I noticed she didn't have a master's degree in library science, which I've kind of expected. And it's like, I guess you already answered how large the pool was, and I don't know kind of what the other candidates were like.
Certainly.
Was that discussed at all?
Yes, there was discussion on that. Actually, if I remember right, there were a couple candidates that were potentially not meeting some of those qualifications, experience level, the master's degree, and I'd have to go back and look through them all to understand them all. But of the 3 candidates that we interviewed, I think there were 2 of them that potentially didn't meet those minimum qualifications. However, we felt that as the job application or the job posting indicated, that an equivalent education and experience is also a qualifying factor. Based on that and their applications, we felt that it was worth extending an offer to conduct the interview. But you're right. I believe one of the minimum qualifications was or is having a master's degree. I can certainly pull that up.
And I was afraid that I was really asleep at the switch, because I assumed that would be a minimum qualification, and was kind of surprised not to see it wasn't the case. And I happened to be looking over the resume a little bit, and I was also wondering about her current position for a number of years. Was that 30 hours a week? And then at the end, she had a 40 hours a week job over the course of a half a year at least, or a year at the same time. That was confusing too.
Sure.
This is Nathan from HR. I can just chime in, and on the job description, it does list master's degree in library science from an accredited institution. But there is a note there, equivalent education and experience is acceptable. So we evaluated the candidate pool, and those that were interested, one did pull out. So our top 2 candidates did not have that master's degree. So we proceeded with equivalent years of experience based on what we had available.
Yeah, I can share my screen here and just give you the list of what those requirements are. Bear with me here. Okay, can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'll zoom in there. So those are the minimum qualifications, and I believe that there were, a couple of those candidates that were really close, but didn't meet. I think there's 6 years of increasingly advanced library experience, 3 years supervisory and administrative. I believe was another one that was just barely not there for a candidate. So, and along with that, I should mention, as part of the overview of the process, once the panel or the interview panel concluded its scoring, board president Hanson did request that we reach out to the references. So that was done, and I'm looking here, but I think I've got a summary sheet. Can you see that on the screen?
Mm-hmm.
So Nathan, who was just speaking a moment ago, he reached out to 5 of the references, had discussions with them. I can certainly send this out. I apologize. I kind of just put together based on a handful of emails that I got, I could share this with everybody, but you can see that there were 5 references that we reached out to, and all of them had great things to say about Miss Kaylee. So
Well, I would certainly like to see and digest that as well as the original ad or requirements would be good. I'm sorry if I'm coasting behind here, but this, I just didn't assume we would kind of run into this kind of issue.
Tony, I think I appreciate the conversation and I do appreciate you asking about the qualifications. And I think it was briefly mentioned earlier. I don't know if we would have had that many candidates meet 100% of all of those qualifications, the masters in library science being the one.
Mhm.
And so, I think digest that, but also, how do we move forward then if we don't have candidates for the director role?
What kind of, I guess, advertising was done? Was that done via the city? Or,
The city, and I also, generally they post within the North Dakota Library Association website as well.
Okay.
That goes out statewide.
This is
Mhm.
Alana. I'd like to just jump in here if I may. I spoke with one of the members of the hiring panel. I saw them at a Little Red Reading Bus stop, so I pulled over and visited with them. And Tony, I did ask about the Masters of Library Science, and I said, is that really going to affect the library? And that staff person didn't think it really would. There are other people within the library staff that do have a Master's of Library Science. I, of course, don't have experience in it, but the staff member I spoke with shared no concerns whatsoever regarding that topic.
I guess that surprises me, given the issues that are starting to happen in the library world right now, which Leanne sent out something just a little bit before the meeting, I think, a little article that one could have. I just briefly looked at it. But on book banning and whatever that I hope doesn't show up here. But I'd like to have somebody at the helm who could, handle that.
I will just comment of the candidates that applied. There was one we did invite to an interview that did have a master's, but she had withdrawn. She took another position. And then Daniel, who we did interview, or one of the other people we interviewed, did also have a master's, but he had far fewer years experience in a library setting. So
And it's not a magic bullet. I mean, I think you got to have the experience, and I think you got to have the degree. But
I think with
we
her
have to-
too, when you talk about book banning and those types of issues, I think she's probably had extensive experience dealing with those types of things. She was a Cass County commissioner, and that's a high leadership role. She served on multiple boards in the community. So I think dealing with things like that, she'd probably actually be pretty strong in, even without the degree. She has real life experience, being on boards in high level positions and 15 years at the library. So to me, that real life experience counts for a lot. I understand what you're saying. I looked through that too, and I didn't see that degree there, but to me, having all of that experience and those leadership qualities, and knowing, just having that interaction that I've had with her as a high level professional, I guess for me, I feel comfortable with her in this role. I think she'd do great, but I know not everybody has their own opinion. So,
and that is good that she has that much experience. I wasn't sure reading her resume, whatever exactly, what it was, but 15 years is a good time to be in a group that handles those kinds of things. I just don't know what her experience was really in encountering those kind of issues.
Lana, do you still have another question?
No, I don't know how to make my hand go down.
Just like this.
I think I got it.
Are there any other questions, comments?
Um, If I may, on this board president, there was an email sent earlier today by one of the staff that was on the interview panel. I don't know if you wanted to share that. I can share my screen, or if you want me to read it.
I can have it, well, I have it up and I can just read it out loud.
There you
Is
go.
that appropriate? So it is from another member of our interview panel, and she's also a staff member at the library. And she did say, "Dear Library Board, as a member of the hiring committee, I'm excited and hopeful of our top candidate, Jenna Cayley. Her commitment and experience in years of previous work at the Lake Agassiz Library System, along with her balance in various public service roles, show her ability to manage both in-house and community factions. She is well-spoken and has a willingness to ask difficult questions. It is my personal opinion that she would be a beneficial leader in the community of West Fargo, as well as at the library. I think she'll be able to tackle the internal issues that are present with the staff while looking forward at the future for our services, patrons, and the city. Our staff is wildly resilient, but I believe we are all capable of flourishing above and beyond where we sit today. And we need a strong, honest leader who's willing to be part of what is happening in the building and beyond. I believe that Jenna has the gumption and the wherewithal to help facilitate that growth in-house and in the community. Thank you for your time and consideration of Jenna Cayley as our library director candidate." So well stated. She did, I think, want that read, or at least on record, that we have that as her feedback. And she was our library representative. Tony, do you have what you need, Tony?
That's probably as good as I'm gonna get, I think. Although it's just, it's an old question that the 30 hours and 40 hours thing is like, what is that? Is that a mistake or a misprint or something? Because sounds like she had 2 jobs for a year, which doesn't make sense to me. It probably didn't happen.
Was one of the jobs working with as an elected official?
Clay County Commissioner, which would, I guess, be that kind of case, which means you're working more than 40 hours. But yeah.
So I think that answers it, that being a commissioner and having a full-time professional job, or mostly full-time professional job,
Okay.
that can lead to that.
Okay.
I would make a motion that we instruct Dustin and the city of West Fargo to enter into contract negotiations with Jenna Cayley.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 I
All
I'll
those
abstain.
opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes. Dustin, is that what you need?
Yes, that is what I need, and I will follow up with you on how that goes. So either
Okay.
or myself will follow up with an email to let the board know.
Okay, and have we notified the other candidates?
I did speak with one of them myself.
Okay.
I believe Nathan was gonna reach out to the other one, but I'm not sure.
I was waiting till this to reach out to the third candidate.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Oh,
okay.
In regards, yes, I have
Oh.
one more, something I'd like to
Yes,
say.
Larry.
In regard to the lack of a Master's of Library Science, I think that in this library's case, it's most important that we get someone on board who can start to direct the library.
Yes.
I think that that person can be advised by others in the library who either have or will be getting a master's in library science. The most important thing, one of the most important things is that the director be able to sling the library lingo and be able to transmit that to the other constituencies that are involved, the commission, the public, citizens groups, the friends. So as long as there are other people in the library who have the master's degree, and I understand that Kirsten will be starting her coursework in the fall. As desirable as it would be for me to have a director with the requisite ticket, we can't have that right now. So we'll do what we can, and she can be advised as best she can. So I think that we have the best that we can do at the moment. I think she'll be a good director. I think she'll be able to make the library's case to the commission and to the public. And we can get started on getting a building.
I think that's well said. Thank you. Because I think she has, you know, considerable experience, and it's fairly lengthy, which is good. And you're right. We do need to get going.
Okay, thank you, Larry.
Certainly.
Anything else? Okay, I make a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and
As
a
is
second,
custom.
as is custom. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned at 5:27.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
Thank you.
we'll see you soon.
Good luck, Mandy.
Thank you.